Hey guys, and welcome to the weekly Red Shirt Report. I'm one of your hosts, Chris the Game Case, aka Cuddles Case, and with me tonight is
Chris Clue Miller.
Clue. How you been this week, Bay?
I have been doing very well. Thank you very much after coming home from PAX West last week, but I understand that you've had a little rain down there in Florida.
We had a little bit of a thunderstorm blow through. Hurricane Irma left many of us without power, but we weathered it well here at the Cuddle Castle. So I'll leave it at that. And guys, let's jump right into some of the highlights from our boardroom meeting that just happened over in our Stack Up Discord. The first thing that I want to pull out here is our TwitchCon contest. For all of our vets out there that want to be at TwitchCon, we have something super exciting for you. We have a 3-day pass that is available. There's a contest running on Twitter. You're going to look for stackup.org. All of that spelled out over on the Twitter machine. This is just for veterans. Go check that out and make sure you get in on this because this is a great opportunity to win a 3-day pass to TwitchCon. Now, I know there's a little game that Bungie's been doing, Clue. What's going on with that?
Yeah, you might have heard of it. Destiny 2 is now live, folks, and our Red Shirt Raiders are jumping on that like nobody's business. And they would certainly like to have you join them in the Destiny 2 world. So for those of you who are interested in joining our Red Shirt Raiders and getting in on some of the Destiny 2 action, check the link below in the Twitter feed, and there should be plenty of information there for you to get involved in that.
All right, guys, and with that said, one of the things coming up, we got 58 days as of this recording. That's right, 58 days until November 11th, Veterans Day, and our official call to arms. This is the time of year where we ask everybody to come out, help support Stack Up, raise some money on your Twitch channel, raise some money on your Mixer channel, raise some money over on Hitbox. We don't care. Come out, and this is a wonderful time of the year where everybody's thinking about vets, everybody's supporting them. And I'll be quite honest, this is our big fundraising push for the year. If you have at any point wanted to be involved with helping stackup.org, now is the time. This is the place. Like, this is the avenue for you to make a difference in veterans' lives, whether they be active duty, whether they be veterans, whether they're here, whether they're abroad. This is how we help make a difference. This call to arms is the way that you can help. If you're curious about call to arms, simply join the Discord link that was just posted in chat. This will also be in the notes over on the YouTube VOD. So if you're watching there, thank you. Join our Stack Up Discord and message myself. I am the game case in there. Or message Sketch. Basically anybody on staff and say, hey, look at me, I want to help. We will gladly walk you down the path of how exactly you can help us. We're really excited for Call to Arms. We hope you are too. But why don't we go ahead and dive into something? We're talking about the future. Why don't we go about a week into the past and talk about PAX West?
All right. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. As a matter of fact, we have a great little video. For some of you may be wondering what it is that Stack Up does at gaming events. Like, why is the charity there in the first place? Well, we go there, obviously, to talk about what it is that we do. There's no better place to be for a gaming charity than at gaming events. But we also bring our Air Assault program, our vets from their Air Assault program, to these events, to PAX West. We have a really great video which will highlight some of the things that we do to help these guys out. So let's cue that up and let's roll that out.
I'm Steven Schweitzer, U.S. Army Aviation Lieutenant Colonel. I was 18 and I went to West Point for 4 years. I branched aviation, so flight school, eventually ended teaching at West Point. I had an aircraft incident, landed way too hard, in air quotes. What I thought was just a minor injury when I was younger, it turned out not to be so pleasant.
My name is Richard Samasco. I was a private second class in the Army. I was a truck driver. I joined the military in October 2005. I was deployed twice out of Fort Hood, Texas. I was on a MIT team, a military transition team, training Iraqis to do their jobs so that we wouldn't have to. The way that gaming impacted my military services, I really enjoyed it because it gave me something more to do other than concentrating on being there.
I've been gaming since as far as I can remember. I was a day one Atari 2600 gamer, and on and off throughout my career I've had a variety of different computers or gaming stations, and then after I got hurt, it definitely gave me a way to focus on something to lessen the pain, which is kind of what I use it for today. Gaming's really pain management for me. It distracts my brain, so it gets a little bit of adrenaline flowing, and next thing I know, I'm not in a 10 and I can actually breathe a little bit.
Damian Salgado, the E4 specialist in the Army. I was an 11 Bravo, I'm proud of that. I just decided to join the Army as an infantryman when I was 20. I was able to deploy with my unit, 101st Airborne 502. I unfortunately was involved with an IED incident that affected my back more than I had known at the time. I had exacerbated the injury. After that, I got medically retired.
Michael Field, electrician's mate, petty officer, first class, United States Navy. I came in 2007. I was 31 years old. I had been homeless for close to a year at that point. Got sent out to my first ship, which was the USS Howard. Did 2 deployments with her. I got sent off to another school and to my second ship. While I was on the USS Stockdale, I again did 2 more deployments.
Coming up, I was always a gamer. I had an Atari 2600. Grew up with gaming ever since, kept going. When I did join the military, it was still involved in my life in some capacity. When I was in the barracks with the guys, video gaming was a big involvement. We all kept a level head because of that. We all had fun. We all had built a better camaraderie.
When you're out on deployment on a warship and there's 300 other individuals, a lot of us use video games to kill time. You're surrounded by water, no land in sight, and there's nothing else to do.
When I found out I was going to PAX, I was super excited. I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to PAX?
Big Destiny guy, so everything Bungie did at the Paramount Theater was fantastic. I loved Brawlhalla. Dragon Ball FighterZ was fantastic, and I was really digging on Dauntless.
Trying Fortnite, the amazing cosplays that were walking around really just blew my mind.
What I was really excited about was getting a chance to spend time with other veterans at an event like that, and all of us just being in awe of everything that was there.
Stack Up, thank you. Everything they're doing, it's just been so fantastic to bring me out here, to get to see everything.
I'd like to thank Stack Up, specifically Betty Page Gaming, and a very good friend of mine, Guardian Outpost, for just nominating me for this.
I'd like to thank everybody at Stack Up. You guys have been fantastic. I was really worried about coming out here with my injuries, and I'm not exactly mobile. If you're a vet and you're wondering, hey, should I sign up for this? You should. This is an awesome program. They will take care of you. I don't care what your condition is, what your injuries are, what you might be afraid of. Sign up. They will take care of you. You will have a good time.
So there's a little taste of what it is that we do at events like PAX with our Air Assault program. Cuddles, we do some other things at PAX, don't we?
So the Air Assaults are this wonderful, meaningful, like awesome program, and one of my favorite things that we do. But what we do with them and what we get to do is enjoy the show floor. I have to say, this was my very first PAX West. I didn't know what to expect. PAX West it's really interesting because there's like 2 rooms on the 4th floor, then there's something up on the 6th floor, then there's some stuff on the 2nd floor, there's some stuff in a hotel over there, and then there's this guy with like a hot dog stand in the corner, and like I like it was absolutely everywhere. And it was, even as a con veteran, I have to say it was kind of overwhelming at first, but everybody on the show floor was incredible. From the Far Cry guys, Fortnite, Brawlhalla was there, Dauntless, of course. Our friends with Bungie took over an entire theater across the street. It was one of the coolest cons that I've ever been to. If you can make a PAX West, guys, I highly suggest it. And then there was the Twitch party. Like, there were so many parties and so many awesome things that happened. Before I mention the Twitch party, huge shout out to Blizzard Entertainment for their party. They did a Shadows of Argus launch party, got the entire Stack Up crew, including our air assaults in there. And it was unbelievable. It was very, very well done. But the Twitch party topped even that. So the Twitch party was held in the Seattle Aquarium, which is exactly as nice as you think it would be. It's over the top. At the start of the party, they fed an octopus for God's sakes. Like, what? I've never been to a party where we fed an octopus. Like, that happened. So there was octopus feeding. There was a scuba diver in their big tank, like dancing to Darude's Sandstorm. It was one of the most awe-inspiring, like just over the top, incredible venues. I know Sketch, who's producing this show right now. I know he went downstairs. I didn't even know this was there until after I left. But there's actually a downstairs part of the Seattle Aquarium because it's right next to I'm guessing Puget Sound, the large bay there. And there's actually a dome underneath the bay.
I'm jumping in here, man. That was some Jacques Cousteau shit going on. I'll let you go back to it.
No, and so you're sitting in there. You're sitting in there with this dome of water that's not the aquarium. It's actually the bay, and the fish that you see are actually the fish from the bay, like natural wild fishies. The music was awesome. There was plenty of places. There was plenty of places to hang out. And we don't normally acknowledge things in chat, but Dragon Tamer, thank you for the 5,000 bits. That's incredible. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much.
Wow, that just love hearts. But yeah, no, everything there was amazing, and I have to say, I think everybody at Stack Up, as exhausting as these events are for us, you probably see it a little bit in Clue and I's faces. We're not quite as perky as we usually are. We're still
Speak
recovering.
for yourself, Cuddles. I'm perky. I'm always perky.
Okay, I'm a little bit less bright-eyed and bushy-tailed than I normally am, but that's because of the amount of fun that we had. No, I talked a lot about the parties. I talked a little bit about the floor. Clue, can you talk a little bit? I know you got to spend a lot more time with our air assaults. What about them? Did they have a good time? Did they enjoy it? What did they get to do?
Oh, boy. Yeah, did they ever. They had – so their experiences, I think, were once in a lifetime. I don't say that lightly. And – you know, there's a lot of audio, so I cut these videos, the aerosol videos and whatnot. And there's a lot of audio, there's a lot of commentary, and there's a lot of things that these guys have to say about these events. Not the least of which how much fun they have, but some things have to kind of hit the cutting room floor, unfortunately, because of time. However, I can say without a doubt that these guys had the greatest time. They were playing Fortnite, they were playing Destiny. They were playing Dauntless. They got to play the new Far Cry 5. They had a great time. We take them on the town, so it's not just the con. So they go to the con, obviously, but we also take them out, you know, on the town, as it were. I mean, we're in Seattle, so you know, we have there's a lot of good nightlife, as you might imagine. So we take them out. We show them a good time. We like the different parties. So they got to do a lot of that. There was a lot of cosplayers there that really interacted with our vets. They had some really good pictures, a lot of good photo opportunities. Not only that, but Memorial Day weekend, okay? Deej from Bungie takes his day off to take all of our air assaults to the Bungie studio. Now, Bungie just rocks in general, but the man took his day off to go show these guys where the magic happens. So that was a really great opportunity for them to go out, have a great time, and see something that a lot of folks never get to see. And there was a lot of that. I mean, just where to start. I mean, there's too much to explain. I mean, there's they had, trust me, they had a good time.
Oh, that's awesome. And I think Clue and I both have said this. But the air assaults, to get to meet these guys and to get to see this portion of Stack Up's mission lived out, it's as much fun for us as it is for them.
That's a fact.
And these guys, from the Coke Colonel to Raspberry Rich to Damien and Grumpy, these guys have, I know they all bonded, and I know they all bonded with Dave, but these guys are like, these are our friends. Like these are not random air assaults now. These are our boys. These are our friends, and I'm really glad that we got to experience it with them.
Word.
So we do have a couple gaming articles to talk about. Our first one is going to talk a little bit about gaming in the Olympics. So the International Olympic Committee has been off and on talking about esports joining the Olympics. And I know one of the things that they're not liking is they didn't like violent video games, and I don't quite get that. But let's before we dive into that, I'm stepping 5 steps ahead of myself. Olympic esports. Clue, should this be a thing?
I guess, I don't know. It kind of already is, in the sense that there's esports leagues. So it almost seems to me like the Olympics are kind of behind the curve here. I don't think so. And the reason why I say that is mainly because the Olympics have always been an athletic event. It has always been a measure of dexterity, of strength, of skill within a particular discipline of sport. I can't imagine. So I think
to that, sir, I say curling or ribbon dancing.
There's still a physical. There's something physical involved, even with curling. Okay, so you still have a certain measure of skill involved. You know, even if it's basically like I don't know, different shuffleboard, but not on a ship. But so I don't think esports. I don't think video games should be part of the Olympics for the same reason chess isn't.
I want to argue that there is amount of physicality to video games. Why have you not stood up after 6 hours of playing games and been wiped?
Well, okay, yeah. Well, that's just called fatigue. I mean, you don't have to be gaming to be fatigued. You could be sitting here. I could be sitting on my ass eating Cheetos, and I still get fatigued. What?
It's me dropping my mic. Gaming makes you tired, therefore it is physical.
Okay. No, my opinion. No, I don't think that esports has their place. Okay, and it's a good place. It's a good space for gamers and professional gamers to compete professionally. I don't think that the Olympics needs to be a thing for electronic sports. No,
I'm actually 100% in agreement with you. I'm just trying to create some wonderful banter here because
sure.
I don't even know why the hell we're even talking about should gaming be in the Olympics? Not specifically on this show. Obviously, this is a Rolling Stone article, but I don't is this really a conversation, guys? Come on now.
Again. Yeah. What would be okay? So we can't have violent video games as part of the Olympics. What video game are we going to play? Let's have a running video game. How about we do the sprint video game? Right?
Oh my gosh!
They could do video game.
They could do the NES one with the trackpad.
Totally.
Field and track, field and sports. Anybody? Can somebody save me from this? The original NES game.
The Olympic event.
Track and field. God. There you go.
Okay.
Track and field.
Let's move on to something that's a little bit more rooted in reality, and more importantly, virtual reality. Now, we might contemplate or argue the merits of having a virtual reality Olympic sport. But in this case, there is a very practical and very real application to VR, and that comes from the medical fields. Johns Hopkins University, among others, are doing exactly that. So they're taking VR and they're using VR, not unlike in our last Red Shirt report, where the soldiers are using it for training. The doctors and medical doctors specifically are also using VR for training with regards to medical procedures, so surgeries, diagnoses, trying to react to emergency situations. So that arena of VR is currently being used at Johns Hopkins is one, but others as well. So that's just one aspect of VR being used in the medical fields. The other has to do with something that kind of we here at StackUp already have been practicing in a way, and that is gaming as a means of pain management and also as a means to get away from certain drugs or certain pharmaceutical alternatives or pharmaceutical machinations or uses for pain management and other medical issues. Depression is one. So they're using VR specifically for chemotherapy patients. Patients who are going through chemotherapy. That's a terrible, terrible process. Essentially, you're pumping toxins into your body, and there's not an insignificant amount of discomfort that goes along with these sorts of procedures. And so some of the things that they're doing is they're immersing chemotherapy patients in VR and allowing them to experience an altered reality as a means of pain management while they're going through this process. Finally, another aspect that they're using is they're actually allowing VR. They're using VR with patients. So what I mean by that is where is this? And one of the hospitals is using VR, Sibley Memorial Hospital, and what they're doing is they're taking MRIs of patients, their brains, they're taking CT scans, that sort of thing, and digitizing them in a three-dimensional way. And they're actually allowing their patients exposure to that MRI in that three-dimensional space. So imagine for a moment, Cuddles, having an MRI done of your brain, and then getting a VR goggle slapped on you and saying, "Hey, go take a walk around your head." I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of creepy, but at the same time, being able to physically interact in some way with your own brain, what do you think about that? Just in general.
So running back on everything, I love that they're using it for training. I can't believe that it's taken this long. Training seems like a no-brainer. You can, oh my gosh, you can cut people open and they don't actually have to be alive or a dead body, or this is a way for medical doctors to get more intensive training on situations in the same way that myself as a pilot. We'd go to flight simulators and have different situations thrown at us that you never want to encounter in an aircraft. Like, hey, your right engine's on fire. There's 30-mile crosswinds, and you got to put it down in this field. And you drill these things and drill these things and drill these things till we see things like the Captain Sully that put his plane down in the Hudson. Where if you listen to the recordings of him, there's zero emotion. He's just doing this, we're going down. And that's where we need to get doctors at. And they are there. I'm not saying that they're not, but any extra practice to make these things take from that take from their conscious knowing how to do it to an unconscious level of competence is life changing.
Agreed.
The VR being used with patients, we see that every day. We saw that with our one and only Colonel Steve
Right.
from our last from PAX West. He actually mentions that in our PAX West video, that video games allow him to kind of step out of his head and raise his adrenaline level naturally without medication, to just take the edge off. It's not a miracle cure. He doesn't get up and do an Irish jig every time he plays Dauntless, but it does. It helps, and we see this with Stack Up on a nearly daily basis.
True. It's and I'm really glad to see that the uses and the value and the benefit of gaming as a means of pain management, of dealing with things like depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, are being taken. Not that we didn't take them seriously, but they're being taken seriously in an academic environment, and so that lends a lot more credence, a lot more validity to the things that we're talking about of getting our veterans out and immersing them in different games. So here's a practical example of that in use, and they wouldn't continue to do it if there wasn't some measure of success in that way. I'm wondering what other things we could use. Now, obviously, VR4, maybe not even necessarily as in the medical fields, but I'm sure there's other things. Like, for instance, one of the things I would love, so they need to do this. Every time I go to a hospital, I get lost. And so they need to put the whole bloody hospital in a VR so that I can know where the hell my appointment is. This is where augmented reality comes in. This is where something like the Microsoft HoloLens would be great for you. So in your glasses, or maybe even eventually in a contact, you're walking around and it actually gives you a mini map like we're used to in video games. And think about this, an objective point for where you're supposed to go. And then you just have to navigate just like we've been used to doing for years and years in video games. Like, that's right. Where I love the crossover with virtual reality and augmented reality. And I think, like, we just saw and this is totally off topic, but we just saw the iPhone X launch with promises of a bunch of augmented reality apps. And we always see video games. Like, that's what we always see, video games. And like, oh, look, there's a dinosaur on the basketball court. Yay. But things like being able to walk into a building, hold up your phone, and see a live map through your camera. These are the things that we're going to see coming in the future. And these are the things that, to wrap this back to what we were talking about, we're starting to see these research opportunities. We're starting to see video games taken more seriously because the people that are of an age to be doing this serious amount of research are now people that grew up with video games, that get it. I have my own father, Vietnam veteran. He was a Green Beret, and he has no idea what it is that I do. And when I try to explain it, he looks at me cross-eyed, like, "Why are you giving veterans video?" And I'm like, "Dad, just trust me, it's a good thing." He's like, "Well, you're helping vets, so." But that is the mentality that's now being phased out. And we're seeing so many amazing things open up. And I have all the optimism and hope in the world for where technology is going to be able to take us in better taking care of people. Agreed. And our veterans are getting younger and younger these days. But for those of you who are interested, old and young vets alike, in getting into doing some gaming, join our Red Shirt Raiders. Like I said, there should be a link down in the Twitch. But also, some of us are a little bit more old school. We like to do some pen and paper stuff. So we can't obviously do pen and paper, together, but we can certainly do it digitally. This Friday, we have just such an opportunity with the Stack Trek. That is our Star Trek role-playing game using the Roll20 system. That is this Friday. Come check it out. It'll be on our Twitch page. We'll be streaming that. And also, remember, it is game night, so join the Red Shirt Raiders. If you're watching this, pop on over to our Discord. Join up with them. I think they're playing Destiny tonight. Hop in, introduce yourselves, play some video games, talk to some vets. Now, civilian or vet, please join us. So that is it, I believe, for tonight's episode of the Red Shirt Report. I thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next week, folks. Have a good night.
Bye, Cuddles.
Bye, Cuddles.